everyone. Thank you so much for coming here. I just have a little technical question. Is this the microphone that I'm talking to, or can I talk into this one? Into either one. Oh, okay. I'm just going to be walking around then. All right. So thank you guys all so much for coming here to take your time to spend with me for 45 minutes. And also a huge thanks to my beautiful Canon family for bringing me here and having me here at the Profusion. So for those who might not know me, my name is Irene Rudnyk. I'm a portrait photographer. I create content on YouTube. I'm an educator, and I'm of course a Canon ambassador. And whenever people ask me what kind of photography I do, I usually like to tell them that I do feminine portraiture. I think that describes my work really well. And my work is really just a reflection of my imagination, of my inner world. And one of my favorite things about doing photography is being able to take those ideas that I have in my head and actually making them a reality. Oops, I went a little bit too far there. So when Canon asked me to do this presentation, they suggested that I tell you guys a little bit about my story and how I got to where I am today in my career. And so I asked myself that as well. I was like, how did I get to where I am today? And looking back at it, honestly, it was just a lot of trial and error. I'm a self-taught photographer. I never went to a photography school. And honestly, I didn't know what I was doing half of the time. But the thing that I was good at and the thing that I did have was a lot of love and passion for photography, and most importantly, the willingness to learn. And in my opinion, that's all you really need to have. And I also don't really believe in talent. I know that it's like a little bit of a controversial thing to say, but yeah, I really don't believe in it, and I have proof. So here are some of the images that I'd taken when I just started doing photography. You know, I didn't pick up the camera and had my images looking absolutely beautiful and amazing with perfect lighting and perfect editing and perfect styling. It actually took many, many years of practice, many years of learning and learning a lot of lessons along the way that helped me to become a better photographer. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. I want to share those lessons with you in hopes to inspire you and show you that absolutely anyone can make it. Anyone can do it, okay? Doesn't matter where you start, doesn't matter where you are right now. Yeah, and hopefully my personal experience will help your personal journey as well. Okay, oops. All right, so we have the lesson number 1. So a little story, one of my biggest inspiration has always been my mom. My mom taught me one of probably the best lessons ever is how to be very resourceful. So my mom was born in Ukraine when it was still Soviet Union. So there were shortages of just absolutely everything. There were shortages of food, of clothing, of tech, but that never stopped my mom. Here she is on her graduation day wearing a dress that she made herself. She hand sewn this dress. So whatever it was, she always kept our house looking beautiful. We always looked very cool, and our garden was really gorgeous. No matter the budget that she had, she could always make it work. She was the DIY queen, okay? She knew how to sew, she knew how to paint, she knew how to take something broken and repair it and make it amazing. So she definitely taught me how to be extremely, extremely resourceful. So when I started doing photography, just like anyone else, or like a lot of us, I was just a broke student. I didn't really have a lot of money, didn't have the money spent on photo shoots. But again, what I did have was resourcefulness. Okay, so don't judge the image. I took it in 2014. This is pretty old, but I want to tell you a little story about this photo shoot. So I really wanted to shoot in the bathtub. And you can kind of see the ugly tile peeking from the side over there. So the tiles were extremely ugly. So I knew I had to cover them somehow. And so I remembered about the curtains that my mom was about to throw away because the cat scratched the curtains really badly. And I told her, okay, let me take those curtains and I'm gonna make a use out of those curtains. So what I did was I taped the curtains to the top of the bathtub. By the way, excuse the extremely shaky and terrible video. This was my very early YouTube making. But as you can see, I taped all those curtains all around. I took some watercolor paint, we put that into the water, to make the paint, to make the water look blue. There's my sister helping me around with the photo shoot. And you see all the curtains are inside of the bathtub. And then I had my sister go in. We did some like funky makeup. We tried to do something with the wet hair. And yeah, that was the image that we got. So it cost me pretty much absolutely $0. And by the way, the little fake orchid that she's holding, I just took it out of my mom's like flower arrangement that I had in the living room. So I just stuck it there to create some more interest. And this was the image that we got. So again, cost me absolutely nothing to make, and it was really fun to do. Next little story, I was really into those beautiful muslin backdrops, you know, those hand-painted backdrops, and I definitely did not have the money to purchase one. I don't think I still have the money to purchase one of those. They can cost up to like $1,000. So what did I do? Me and my sister, we bought a roll of just paper, just your typical studio like paper roll, and we just painted it. And honestly, you do not need to be super talented and super artistic to make one of these backdrops. We just did some texture with sponges, and just the paint that we used was literally acrylic paint from the dollar store. So it was like extremely cheap, very resourceful. Whatever we had, we just used to create the backdrop, and these were the images. Like, you wouldn't even know, right? It looks really good. So just again shows you that you can make anything work, right? I've made countless of accessories throughout the years, so pretty much all the accessories that you can see here, I made them by hand. I thrifted the flowers from Value Village. I bought them from dollar store, just the cheapest I could find, and I would make it work somehow. A lot of the times also what you can see is the back of these flower crowns, where there's just a bunch of hot glue and things sticking out. But as long as it looks good in picture, that's all you need. This image on the left, I got the Christmas tree from Value Village, of course, my favorite shop. We brought that Christmas tree into our backyard. We lit it up to get this beautiful image. The picture in the middle, the table that we're using is actually not a table. It's just few wooden panels that I've screwed together, and here you go. Now we have a rustic table for our photo shoot. The picture on the right, I had the pink dresses, but I couldn't find a purple one anywhere. And so what I did, I just took a white dress and I dyed it with the purple color to make it work. This image right here, absolutely everything from shoes, to skirt, the jacket, the shirt, the hat, and even the umbrella. Everything is thrifted. Everything is from Value Village, and I think altogether probably cost me less than $50 to make. Here's a really fun one. I wanted to challenge myself and experiment, and I got this picture with using just 2 table lamps. So there's one table lamp on this side, there's another one at the bottom, and the blue light that you see in the background is just the light coming from the window, because it was the blue hour time, just right after sunset. So you would think that I'm using like a blue gel and some lights, but really it's just table lamps and some window light. This was another one that a lot of people really liked that I did a while ago. I just took a bunch of Christmas lights. I again scotch taped them to the ceiling. We did rip a little bit of the ceiling paint off, you know, but it was worth it in the end because we got some really cute pictures for like the Christmas time. Okay, this is one of my absolute favorites. This is a more recent one that I did. So I discovered that my shed in the backyard has actually the most amazing light ever. It was a little bit funny when I told my model that we're going to be shooting in my backyard shed, but I told her don't worry because it's going to look very beautiful in the end. And the reason why the shed works is because it's just like a perfect little studio, right? So we have all of the shadow inside and then the light pouring in, and then the barn doors can be used as little V-flats. Like they will reflect some light as well, so you can actually use them to direct the light however you want, right? So again, it's a free studio that actually makes some really beautiful images, and you can achieve very similar result with a garage door as well. So if you have a garage and you've never shot in the garage, definitely try it out. Okay, so in this presentation, I want to give you guys a little bit of homework. Okay, you don't have to do it, but if you want to, please do, and you will not regret doing it. Okay, so when you get home, if you want to experiment and have fun and be creative, make use of one or few ordinary things in your home in a creative way in the photo shoot. Okay, here's a little example that I have here. So I'm using a window as a background here. So this was shot inside, but you can see the bokeh and the beautiful lighting that's coming actually through the window. So make use of whatever it is. Think about shooting through it, shooting with it, maybe using it as a prop. Just experiment and be as creative as you can be. Okay, we're at our lesson number 2. Get out of your comfort zone. Another story, I have a lot of stories today. So in 2017, I think, I was invited to go to a very, very beautiful trip to Israel with a bunch of other photographers. And the coolest thing about this trip was that all of us were doing different genres of photography. So Sarah here on the side was doing underwater photography. Then we had an architectural photographer. We had a wildlife photographer, the street photographer. There's me doing portraits, and then another portrait photographer. And it was really, really amazing seeing all of these other people shoot in a completely different way to what I'm used to. One of the days we went out to, we were in Jerusalem and we went to the street market and we had an assignment to take some cool pictures on the street. So now, I've never done something like that before, and I've never even had an interest of doing something like that before. I've always was like, I like portraits and this is exactly what I'm gonna be doing. So I never even thought of going on the street, taking pictures of people. Like, I don't know, are they gonna get angry at me? Like, is someone gonna punch me in the face? Like, you know, there's all sorts of scary things that go with it. But Joe here in the middle, he's a street photographer. I saw him doing his thing and I was so extremely inspired by the way he was shooting. So he was just walking around holding his camera kind of at the waist level, and he was just snapping pictures of people. And you would never know that he just took a picture of you. Like, you would not notice that at all. And he was capturing these like very alive moments that were just happening. I was just completely entranced by how he was doing things. So I thought to myself, okay, if he can do it, I think I can do it as well, you know, or at least I'm gonna try to do it. So I decided to set a goal for myself to actually go out and try doing some street photography. So I'm gonna just show you just a few ones that I really liked. You know, they're not actually fighting, they were just talking, but very passionately, right? So it almost looked like they're fighting. I really love this picture, and I love like that chaotic background and how much stuff is in the background in there. I love this picture of the two ladies, so cute. And then here's some more images that I took. And okay, so this one on the right is probably my favorite picture that I took because it's so funny to me. We have this beautiful background and the beautiful colors, and it's like perfectly centered, and then the boy is just like picking his nose. Like that's the cool thing about street photography and doing these kind of projects, because it's like something that I've never would have shot something like that until I actually tried doing that. Okay, so I was so inspired by doing these things, but obviously it's not something that I would normally do anyways. So I thought, how can I combine what I just did with what I normally do? So the next day, I decided to go out on the street, and we were in Tel Aviv already at that time. I saw a lot of beautiful women walking around, and I thought, you know what? Okay, let me just kind of combine two things, combine street photography with portraiture photography. So yeah, I went out on the street and I just asked strangers if I can take a portrait of them. So that's what I did, and this one was one of my favorites. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know if you can see it very well. And it was such a spontaneous moment with the guy crossing, like right in front of us, and I kind of got that shot and I thought it looked so cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing this project, and I thought that I got some really beautiful images, and I would have never thought of doing something like that haven't I tried to get out of that comfort zone and try something slightly different than I normally don't do. How beautiful is this woman? I saw her walking through the market and I just stopped her. She did not speak any English, but I was just like, huh, camera? Yes, yes. And she was like, what? And I was like, yes. And I just grabbed some pictures and that's it. Yeah. Absolutely loved doing that. Which brings us to our next lesson, overcoming your fears. Oh, no, let's go back here. So I did another trip right after this Israel trip where me and my friends went to Tulum, Mexico. We were at the Airbnb together and we had the pool there. And then my friend takes out a really cheap, kind of like a Ziploc bag, waterproof camera case. Okay, and he was like, let's do some underwater photography. And so I was like, oh my goodness, like I don't know if I can do that because I don't like being underwater. I don't like having my head underwater. I don't like not breathing. So I was thinking, I don't know if I can do that. But then I thought to myself, I just did this crazy thing in Israel where I went on the street and talked to people who don't even speak English and got their portraits, and it wasn't actually as scary as I thought it's going to be. So I decided that I'm just gonna force myself to get those underwater shots. And so I spent the whole day in the pool. I would sink at the bottom and sit there and try to keep calm and breathe. And so I actually did it. It was very hard and everything was wrong. Like the Ziploc bag had air in it, so like it kept pushing up. I didn't have the weight belt, so I was flying up. It was just, everything was wrong in this photo shoot, and it was definitely very scary, although it doesn't look like it. Yes, this is not how you do underwater photography, okay? But I tried my best, and I was actually able to get at least one shot that I did really like. But it's not even about the shot. It's more so about the experience and being able to overcome the fears and realizing it's actually not that scary at all. And also realizing that if I can do this, then I can do anything else, right? Then absolutely anything is possible. So here's a little more homework for you guys. Try shooting in a different photography genre. Have you ever tried it? You know, if you're, let's say if you're a portrait photographer, try landscapes, you know, and if it's not something that you want to do after, you still don't know what you're gonna learn from shooting landscapes, because it can teach you how to recognize beauty in more simple things. Like with the street photography, it taught me to see beauty in just like textures on the street, in the colors on the street, right? And yeah, it definitely made me look at things in a completely different way. And push yourself out of your comfort zone. Do what scares you. I will share a little secret with you. This is my first time ever speaking in front of the audience like this. I've never done something like that. So, and it's scary, okay? I was definitely sweating a little bit before this presentation, but I'm pushing myself to do something that scares me because I know that in the end, it's gonna be extremely rewarding, right? So push yourself to do things that you're afraid of. Are you afraid of heights? Maybe you should hike up the mountain and try taking pictures there, because after you've done it, you'll feel invincible, okay? So definitely please try doing that. And it doesn't have to be anything as crazy as what I was mentioning. You don't have to like fly to Mexico and do an underwater photo shoot in the pool. You can do even something as simple as taking macro photography, right? That's another thing I love doing sometimes to just unwind. I'll go into the field and take pictures of flowers just to cool down, just to slow it down and focus on something completely different than what I normally do. Okay, do you guys remember the first time that you failed a photo shoot? Because I definitely remember mine. So I wanted to try something new. I wanted to shoot in the blue hours. So this is the time where the sun just sets and you have this beautiful, soft blue kind of lighting. I was imagining my model to hold a lantern. Oh, there we go. So that's what I did. I styled my model. She looked absolutely beautiful. I had the makeup artist do the hair and makeup. We went to this location, and then all of the things started happening that were completely wrong. So the lantern was not bright enough. We ran out of time really quickly. It got really dark. It was cold. There was snow everywhere. Oh, just everything was completely wrong. I got home, and then I thought, okay, maybe I can save this with editing, you know? This is the thing that happens to a lot of us, right? We think maybe we can save this with editing, and this is when you know that this is probably not going to work. So I had to admit to myself that, okay, I failed this photo shoot. Like, this is just what it is. And the worst thing you can do, which I did, I started spiraling down and thinking, well, maybe I'm not a good photographer. Maybe, well, I'm just gonna fail the next one then. You know, I wasted their time. I wasted the time of my model. I wasted the time of my makeup artist, right? And then I tried to snap out of it and think about it in a different way. And this is how you should think about failure, is that it will happen. And it's absolutely inevitable. And if you ask the best photographers in the world, if they ever fail, they do, because we're all human. We're not perfect, and absolutely everyone will fail at some point. Now, what we can do about it is we can learn, and we can try to apply the things that we did wrong. And sorry, we can try to identify the things that we did wrong and not repeat them again. So I decided I still want to execute that idea, and I'm going to do it better this time. So I wrote down the list of things that went wrong, which was not enough prep time, because the light just ran out. I didn't like the lantern, so I got a new lantern. Unfortunately, the model that I was working with at the beginning, she doesn't live in Calgary, so I got a different model. I did a little bit of the better styling. I scouted out the location beforehand. I made sure that everything was absolutely perfect, and I actually got the images that I really loved, and this was exactly what I had in mind when I wanted to shoot these images. So I took the failure and I actually made something positive out of it. I learned some lessons. Okay, so these are just a few more images that I did there with the lantern. They look so much better than the ones that I tried doing. Okay, so a little homework for you guys. What I like to do, and I still do this all the time, if you've never done this before, take one of the images that you like the most that you've ever done, and one of the images that you don't like, okay? And write things down for why you like the picture that is your best, and then why you don't like the picture that is your worst, okay? What did go right in the one that you like? Did you like the lighting? Did you like the model? Did you like the posing? Did you like the location? Maybe you did really good on the editing. And then do the same with the photo that you don't like. What went wrong, right? Was it not enough planning? Did you not like the styling of the photo shoot? Write it down so that you know what to do, and so you know what not to do again. Okay, and this is a great exercise. I still like to do it from time to time. If I don't like something, I really sit down and think about it. Why do I not like it? Okay, and this will give you just a better understanding of what do you do. Okay. Lesson number 5, another story, another travel story. So this was my very first time that I went to Los Angeles to collaborate with other photographers and models. I was super excited. I was doing a lot of research on who I want to work with, and I found this model on Instagram. I really wanted to work with her. I was about to send her a DM, and then I realized that she was actually like an actress that's been in like some nice movies and shows. And so immediately I thought, oh, I probably shouldn't even message her, because she's not gonna even see my message. She's not gonna want to work with me. And this was at the time where I was just starting out in my career. I definitely did not have the audience that I have now. I did not have the following I have now. I don't even think I was as good of a photographer as I am now. But then I thought to myself, okay, what's the worst that can happen? Well, she's not gonna see it, or she's gonna not reply, or she will reply and say no. Okay, so she's gonna say no, but at least I'll know that I tried to make it work, and I tried to work with her. But to my surprise, she actually said yes. And so we went out to the beach, and we did this beautiful photo shoot, and these images are still one of my absolute favorites. It was absolutely amazing working with her. Working with actresses is just beautiful, because you can tell them the story and they will portray it exactly like you want. So yeah, I absolutely love that. So I definitely realized that, you know, sometimes you just gotta ask for things. Sometimes you can't just wait for things to happen to you, and you gotta ask for them. And again, like, I actually did ask Canon to do this thing. Nick over here knows, he's in the audience. I was talking to him recently, and I was mentioning Profusion, and I asked them if maybe Canon would be interested to have me here, and they were like, oh, we didn't think you want to. I was like, why? I do, I definitely want to. So you see, if I did not ask, I wouldn't be even here, right? So this is what you have to do. Sometimes you have to ask people for things, right? And you can't just wait, and yeah. So my lesson for you is to contact a person or a brand you want to work with, okay? Just do it. Think of it can be a model, it can be another photographer that maybe you would want to assist, it can be a brand that you want to work with, but just do it, you know, just email them and ask for it. And again, the worst thing that can happen is what? Like, you're not gonna die, right? If they say no, then they say no. If they don't see it, then they don't see it, but at least you know that you made the effort and then you tried to do it. Okay, self-portraits. This is a huge one that a lot of people don't do, and I'm actually kind of angry at myself for getting so late into understanding self-portraits and how beneficial they can actually be. So, you know, 2019, COVID started, the quarantine started. We, you know, all of us photographers like couldn't really shoot with anyone. It was terrible, right? For me, this is my livelihood. I still had to continue creating content. And so I could, I guess, take pictures of my husband, but I don't know what that would look like, you know? I don't think that would look very good. So I decided that I just have to take self-portraits. And I don't like being on that side of the camera. I definitely prefer taking pictures rather than modeling for the images. But this was something that just kind of happened. I was forced to do it. But then I realized how actually amazing it is. Have you guys ever tried taking a self-portrait? Who have? Who's taking a self-portrait? Okay, see, not that many. Oh, okay, that's a good amount, but still not enough. Everyone should be just picking up their hand. Everyone should be taking a self-portrait. So I started with just my typical self-portraits, the stuff that I always do. There's like the window light, and then I did like the 2-light setup. And then I realized something really, really big. Okay, I realized that if I don't like the images, I'm the only one seeing them. There's no model or makeup artist involved, so I'm not wasting anyone else's time if I'm just like fooling around with lights and experimenting, right? And so I thought, oh my God, like, why haven't I done this before? I can just be endlessly creative with myself and experiment and try out so many different techniques and lighting setups that I've never even tried before, because I didn't want to waste like my model's time. And so it started with me just doing some self-portraits with a very random setup. So as you can see, I have my camera set up with the on-camera flash, and I have it flashing into the wall. And I'm shooting the self-portraits. I'm connecting the camera through the Canon Connect app. It's just like in my living room. I have a pop-up backdrop, a very, very random setup, right? But the images turned out like absolutely beautiful. I was like shocked myself that I could get like these kind of stunning studio looking like portraits with just on-camera flash. And I would have never even thought of doing this kind of setup with my model haven't I had tried doing self-portraits. Okay, and so once I did that, I just started going crazy with all sorts of stuff. So here it was snowing, and you know, like when it just starts snowing and you look outside and it looks so beautiful, and then you're like, well, I wish I had the model to take outside and to photograph her. I thought that day, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and take pictures of myself. So that's what we did. I set up a flash behind me to highlight the snow that was just falling down. I took that same lantern that I showed you guys earlier in the photo shoot, because now I learned how to use the lantern in the photo shoot, and I just took some really cute pictures right there. And then I did the same setup indoors. So I set up the flash just behind me, and there's another light in front of me, and then to create this like hazy effect, I just put Vaseline on my lens. And then this is my latest one. This was also a very random setup, so I wanted to create this like mirror water reflection kind of effect. So I was using a mylar sheet, I was using some gels, all sorts of fun stuff, and I could just experiment for hours and try out all sorts of new different techniques. Then I tried even experimenting with some composite work. Yeah, just lots of different stuff. Okay, so not only does it give you a lot of time to experiment and try out different techniques and just be creative, but also when you're on the other side, you can really understand how your model feels. Okay, you can then relate to how it actually feels to be on the other side, and you will be able to pose them better. Once you're in that vulnerable spot where you have to pose and you have to feel comfortable, you will be able to communicate with your model better as a photographer. Okay, so again, if you have not tried doing self-portraits yet, please do it. I mean, it's your homework. You have to do it. So even if you think that you're like not a good model or whatever, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to show these images to anyone, okay? Just do it for yourself. Do it to gain a better understanding of how it feels on the other side of the camera, and just do it whenever you want to find something new. If you want to learn a new technique, if you want to experiment, if you want to have fun. You're going to be the only one seeing these images. And I will tell you, with the new cameras that they have, with the new mirrorless cameras, it's extremely, extremely easy to take self-portraits. You can connect it to your phone, you can connect it to your laptop, you can set interval shooting and it will just focus on you. It's extremely, extremely easy. So please do it if you haven't done it before. Okay, so this is my last lesson for you guys. Make friends in your community. I think this is actually so important, and a lot of photographers don't realize, again, how important it is to have friends around you that not only support you. That is really great. That's great to have people who support you, who is around you. But it's even more important to have the friends who are also photographers or also in the creative field, because they will actually be able to relate to you a lot more than any other of your friends. I mean, have you ever tried like complaining to your spouse about a client? You know, like I've done that before. My husband hates it. If I complain to him about like something that is happening with my camera or whatever, he's like, yeah. That's why I have friends in the photography community who I can consult with, who can give me some great advice, who I can complain to a little bit, you know, and they will be able to relate and to understand exactly what I'm feeling. So maybe, I think it was 2018, I met my friend Anita. You can see her over here. She's also a photographer and a YouTuber, and she's been just an amazing friend to have, because we both do the same thing, and we both know how it is to be a YouTuber, to be a photographer. And so whenever I have anything that I'm worried about, I always call her, I always text her. I will text her and ask her if this thumbnail looks good, or I'll ask her, what do you think I should call this video? Or I'll text her and be like, what do you think about this photo? Should I add a little bit more editing here, or do you think it's enough? So, you know, sometimes you just need another person to consult with. And so, oh, you know what, maybe I can give you a homework of, you can meet each other. Right? So if you don't know the person that's sitting beside you, maybe you can introduce yourself, you can show them your Instagram, and yeah, maybe you guys can collaborate in the future. Most of the people are local here, right? And this is like the best spot to meet people. I know a lot of photographers are more introverted, and sometimes it's hard to meet someone that you don't know, but definitely make effort to find these people. So I also have just a little plug, you know, if I may. If you want to go to more events like this and again meet more people in the community, definitely check out Canon Creator Lab and the Socality community as well. So yeah, Canon Creator Lab and Socality, they organize amazing events across Canada. There are either free or like $5 entry, like very, very inexpensive, where other photographers get together, they take pictures, and they do very beautiful setups. So yeah, definitely, if you have never gone to things like that, do it. Please do it. I only recently realized how important it is surrounding yourself with just other creative people that you can rely on, that you can communicate with, that you can, that you can have fun together as well. Alright, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this talk and that you've learned something new, and I really do hope that you will try some of the things that I mentioned. I really hope that you do at least one of the homework assignments that I gave you, okay? Do at least one, and again, you will not regret doing it. Should I take any questions for maybe... Should I take any, oh wait, do you guys have any questions? Does anyone want to ask anything? And it can be absolutely anything. Doesn't have, yeah. No? Okay, all good. I think,
You're busy.
Well, let me plug myself in again then.
So we're going to turn yours off.
Yes.
Have them come up and have a question. I'll give them the microphone.
Okay.
And then I'll give you the mic back.
Are there even any questions? I'm not sure if anyone wants. I think it's all good, right?
No,
You guys got it. Okay, so thank you guys so much for listening to me. You've been a great audience. You made me feel very easy. I was definitely stressing a little bit, okay? But you made me feel really comfortable. Yes.
Tell me we'll be there at 3:45.
Oh, that's right. Please come to see my demo at 3:45 if you haven't